This is Boss Barrel Radio. My name is Griff and Hoffmann. Welcome. This is a podcast about video games and friends talking about video games. With me is Geoff Brewer.
What's up?
James Sherer.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, what
James
was that?
has some...
Do we... I think there was something wrong with your microphone, Jamie.
Snip-a-doo slam jam.
So you're not coming across... I think there's some static.
I think the you need to adjust the gain.
They put me in Skyrim.
Can you adjust the double axe handle a little bit? Can you turn that up a little more?
Jamie, go into effects and turn off Stone Cold.
Turn on Miss Elizabeth.
Whoa, I'm back. Wow, that was a crazy filter I downloaded. Sorry, guys.
Jamie has a strange energy today. I can feel it. It's emanating from him and infecting all of us.
Yeah.
Is it a Paxy energy?
Ooh.
It's like a I avoid the PAX crud for the first time in 10 years, but then I get the Corona crud energy.
Pax was just softening you up so that your hospital could deliver the killing blow.
Yeah. Oh man.
So you guys went to PAX.
We did go to PAX.
How was it? Did you have your panel?
We did not have our panel.
Okay.
Sadly.
Did you see cool shit?
Yes.
Was there any shit there to see with all the damage control happening currently?
Go ahead, Jamie.
Geoff and I, we were really, really lucky in that we were able to play the incredible demo of Final Fantasy VII exclusively available to people at PAX, and no one else has been able to play it, so I really feel like I am privileged in that sense. And, it was a bit of a to-do to get into the demo. You had to get the ticket the day before and then come back and then wait in an hour-long line.
Do the secret handshake.
Secret handshake. But, I think
Tell them about your favorite
test.
What's your favorite materia? Go around right now. Favorite materia?
That wasn't in the demo.
No, I don't. I mean, just like in general, in life. What's your favorite materia?
Ooh.
Blizzaga!
Added cut because it's so dumb.
Okay. All right.
My favorite materia is TM44 cut.
Good answer. Good answer.
Pokemon, you mother grabber. That's an HM. Go home.
Sorry. I'm going. I feel really good that we got to experience this demo that not everyone is going to get to.
Well, let's give them just a hint of what we experienced. So we started in the middle of the Mako reactor and fought this boss called the Guard Scorpion.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Nobody's done that. Totally exclusive experience.
Yeah. Question for you guys. How many times at this point in your life have you seen the CGI intro to Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Well, I'll tell you where we didn't see it.
More or less than 10 times.
Speaking of music podcasts, I have something to say.
The music was solid, but
that was very good.
Yeah, so I'll tell you where we did not see the CG intro to Final Fantasy VII at PAX. I'll tell you where you can see it in the demo that came out the day after PAX. That is longer than the demo we played.
Or if you just close your eyes, you will see it because that demo that CGI intro is fucking pervasive as hell at this point.
All I'm going to tell you is the planet's dying, Cloud.
What is Tifa looking at? What is she looking at?
A stinky pipe.
Why? Is she a plumber? Is this a Mario crossover?
It's got some stank on it, and she's looking at that stanky pipe.
Ding, ding, ding. What's up with that?
Mako's weed, right? Right?
Do you think Tifa Lockhart can do the Mario?
I think the best thing about that demo is when Barrett is going on a tangent, and then Jesse looks at you like, I know. Just let him
talk.
Just let him talk. I'm sorry.
I feel like Barrett, he walks the line so much of just being, the worst kind of stereotype, and usually he's on the right side of that line, but there was one part, I think it's in the Guard Scorpion fight or right before it, where he just out of nowhere, he's just like, yeah, let's do this! And I'm like, what is happening?
I really want to see an interview with that voice actor.
I don't know if you guys follow Chris Kohler on Twitter, but he's kind of ripping that demo apart. And a lot of his criticism is like, oh, there's just too many things happening. I don't know what to do. This is really confusing. System after system after instruction after instruction. And somebody retweeted at him is like, cloud literally tells you what to do every second of the fight.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that. I actually thought the combat was pretty nice.
I thought it was great.
Hey guys,
I'm
guess what?
extremely
I played the
excited.
demo too.
Yeah! And your demo was longer than ours and also free and had no line.
Yeah, it's almost as if it's like you didn't pay $250 for the ticket or whatever, and then you didn't pay for a hotel, and then you didn't go get coronavirus, but you still got the demo. Wow.
Griffin, can I just quickly, before you give your thoughts on the demo, because I'd love to hear them. So, in order to play the Final Fantasy demo at PAX, which, as I'll remind everyone listening, was superseded by a better demo literally the next day, we had to line up at 9 a.m. in a pre-line to get onto the expo floor. And then after...
pre-line's totally normal, right?
Yeah. And then after... around like 10:15 when our part, or maybe 10:30 when our part of the line was released onto the expo floor, we had to line up at the Square Enix booth to get a ticket to come back later to line up to play the game. Mm-hmm. So there were 3 lines to play the Final Fantasy VII demo that came out a day after we left.
Yep.
That sucks. So, when you guys were in line, were you just watching other people, like, play it in front of you, and you're just like, slowly stepping forward, be like, well, I guess I'm going to do the same thing that I've watched 5,000 people do in front of me at this point?
You could sort of see them playing, although they made it very clear that we were not to record the demo, which is amazing because it's literally shorter than the demo that came out the next day.
Yeah.
It is a subset of the demo that was released to the general public, and they were like, no screen recording.
I think the key to sanity at PAX is you make sure you got your Switch with you, and while you're waiting in the line to play the game, you're playing a game.
Yes.
Because I think if you watch the game played while you're waiting in line, I think like
You lose all hope.
the tragedy of the human experience just overwhelms you and you start vomiting. So I think you have to kind of distract yourself a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was exciting while I was there. The booth was cool.
How many
The
people
booth
did
had
you
all
Street
sorts of-
Pass with this year?
I did not bring my 3DS with me.
Neither did I.
I'm over it, man.
People were street passing and people were talking about it.
Interesting. I was joking, but
us.
that's cool that people are still doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like the theme of PAX, and maybe we'll talk FF7 after this, because I do want to talk about that, was lining up for lines.
Yeah.
Like, that was I feel like, what we did at PAX when it came to playing games.
I don't know if it was because at first when we got on the floor, Geoff and I were wondering if it would seem really empty because so many of the people who have the biggest floor space had pulled out. When we got to the floor, it actually seemed extremely reasonable, and Thursday is always like the best day. There's still thousands and tens of thousands of people there, but it's not as bad as the weekend.
Yeah.
But they rearranged the floor so it didn't seem empty. It just seemed like more reasonable. Like the aisles were wider, but there was still there's always a ton of stuff to do at PAX. Like you're not going to run out of stuff to do at PAX. It doesn't sound like E3, and but then later I was wondering because each line just seemed so much worse than in previous years. I'm wondering if some of those bigger booths like Sony and whatever were lapping up a lot of people, and I think that those people went elsewhere, and so each line kind of seemed like really horrible.
Concentrated.
Well, I feel like the indie lines weren't bad. I just didn't come prepared. Like, we ended up hitting up Yacht Club, which had some great stuff, and I just always loved to go to their booth. But generally speaking, the indie lines weren't bad, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the publishers, it's just such a freaking nightmare to deal with.
And we were going to queue up to go see the gameplay reveal of Baldur's Gate, and then we looked at the app, the PAX app, which informed us hours and hours before the line was already full. So we were like, you know what? Let's just go to the hotel room across the street and watch it. So that's what we did.
We were close to it, though, as it happened.
Yeah, we were physically close.
Worth paying hundreds of dollars a night for that room.
Yeah.
So worth it.
So it sounds like all in all kind of like a culmination of publishers pulling out because of the COVID-19 corona situation, and plus coming off a little bit of the high of last year, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the thing. So we can joke about how PAX was stupid in a lot of ways, but I still had an amazing time, and will definitely go back next year and would consider doing a full 4 days again.
Oh yeah, It's like the good suck. It's like the grinding in 2004 in WoW. It's like
also, you might want to rephrase the good suck. Go on, sorry.
But yeah, totally. We rag on it, but I think the show, for all its foibles, I think the show is run actually really, really well, considering they have to manage 60,000 smelly people, and I just love it. Every year I have such a great
smelly
time.
Person, James
Extremely smelly. Oh, still, good amount of crop dusting this year. Not as much as last year, maybe.
It was cool too because some friends of mine joined me, and I've never had anyone from Maine come down to PAX, and that was super cool too. It jazzed it up.
It's weird, the moments of PAX that stick with you. Like, the thing that I'm going to remember until I die about this year's PAX is waiting for 2 hours to play the 20-minute Doom Eternal demo, which was worth it. But the thing I'm not going to really remember is the demo, because I'll play the game and then the game will replace that memory. What I'm going to remember is in line a very well-meaning 14-year-old, maybe 15-year-old kid explaining to me for the entirety of the 2-hour wait, while I was playing Hollow Knight, the differences between the Splatoon 2 test fire demo and the Splatoon 2 full release for 2 hours. He did not stop.
Did he talk about the server refresh rate? Because that's like a big controversy.
He might have. There was a lot of information given, and he went in detail about the slight differences in each gun, and it was actually intensely fascinating in kind of a strange ASMR way. But that's what I'm going to remember from this one more than anything else.
We also got to do some cool stuff surrounding PAX. Like, we went to an awesome escape room, which repeatedly blew my mind.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You usually don't hear awesome escape room.
Oh, it was so cool, dude.
It was by far the best I've been to. By far.
And I also went to IKEA for the first time, which was, like, maybe my favorite game of all time.
Wait, you've never been to IKEA before?
I've never been to IKEA, and I just want to comment on my experience there, because we started on the second floor in the showrooms, so I felt like I experienced, like, a slow-motion deconstruction / descent into madness. Because when you start on the top, like, you see these beautiful spaces that have been carefully curated, full of stuff, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, some of this is a little bit hokey, but I love that. That's neat. And you get to go into all these different rooms. And then you go downstairs, and it's, like, kind of like a normal store, except like...
You saw the warehouse.
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Except there's, like, a subway map to the normal store with shortcuts, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. And then we went into the self-serve furniture area, which is the best name for a warehouse of all time.
And then you turned on no clip and you walked into the warehouse.
We saw the code of the Matrix, and I stared into the abyss, and the abyss stared back.
Like, desks. I need more desks.
And just a slow panic dawned on me. Also, why is IKEA a sovereign nation? Like, it is so weird.
It's so fucking weird. I think the next Dead Rising is going to be in an IKEA.
And you can only go one way. The arrows make it very clear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you turn around, I don't know what happens. Like, are you just taken out and shot?
A man
you turned
in
into
a yellow
meatballs,
shirt.
actually.
You're sent immediately to the ball pit.
The meatball pit.
Oh, gross.
Oh no, that's a great name for a certain type of establishment.
Oh man.
But yeah, no. We came in. My friend was looking for a mirror, and we found the small version of the mirror, and then there was ensuing drama as we looked for the large version of the mirror, and just like went into the depths of insanity.
You can check whether it's in a store's inventory on the website.
So it was in the store's inventory, but we had to interface with various IKEA employees to find out where in the inventory it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best
Interesting.
part.
I don't think I've ever talked to an IKEA employee.
They are they're there when you need them, but they're otherwise I don't know. It's weird. The consistency of IKEA employees across that store was very puzzling to me.
They dimension door in as soon as you need them?
I think they emerge from shortcuts. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Like they have like a little mind monitoring thing going on, and
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
pop out of shortcuts when they need you.
Well,
They also-
you put on the circlet when you came in the store, right? So it's actively monitoring you?
I pulled out one of those little paper tape measures, and I'm pretty sure there's a tracking device in there.
But I'm pretty sure that they bunch up because you need to have that experience if you're at IKEA on an off hour. You need to have that one experience where you're walking through the store with your friend or whoever, and then you're looking at something, and then you look around, and you're in a huge space, and nobody's there. You need to have that experience like once in the IKEA.
It's very alarming. Also, there's like parts of IKEA that are under construction and feel very evil. Like, I feel like if I went back there would be a bad man. Or
See,
like a monster.
that's new to me. I don't think I've ever experienced an IKEA that was like, incomplete or inactive.
Basically, like, the arrows didn't go back there, and if you did, then maybe like a grudge lady would curse you or something.
Huh.
It was very ominous.
Did you get out of the escape room, IKEA?
We made it out. We as I said, we stared into the abyss. The abyss stared back, and then a deep bellowing voice said, "That'll be 120, 150," and then we were released.
What was your favorite placeholder book?
Oh my god! There was one by Philip Roth. It was like the most hilarious Swedish title, and then it just said, it was like Florgenflagel Philip Roth. It was really good.
I think, Geoff, you have a call. I am calling you to this task, which is you need to go get the fucking whatever my butt author is books, print out a couple copies, and then start seeding IKEAs with them. Yeah, yes, Chuck Tingle, yeah.
I feel like, in Lost, when what's his name comes back and he's got the beard and he has to go back, that's me, except it's the
Jack?
IKEA store.
Yeah.
There's a deep secret in there. Some kind of arcane knowledge I need to unearth.
Make sure you get a constant, which can usually be an IKEA toilet.
Did you have a favorite named thing?
Ooh, I can't remember any of the names. They were pretty good, but my favorite item in the store. So we went to the stool
It's
area.
It's not racist when you make fun of Swedish names, right? Am I right, guys?
Yeah,
Am I
they're
right?
all very white.
Hell yeah!
We went to the stool area, and there's like some good seating, and then there's some seating that is so like criminally bad. Like, we sat on this one stool, and it was like just like a little wobbly number, and just like the act of sitting on it was like standing on that balance board that you have, Jamie.
Oh yeah,
you know the one.
Yeah,
it was Heelys for your ass.
It was what for your ass?
Heelys.
It was a wild ride. Like,
you're like, I'm too old for this.
I think like you definitely have to have some hip strength just to balance on that bad boy.
All IKEA seating, when you first sit in it, it's like, oh, okay, and then in like at least at most actually 45 seconds, you're like, this does hurt. This.
I think it falls into the IKEA unspoken terms, which is this is all for display. You understand, right? Like you do not sit in the IKEA chair. You do not actively place and remove books from the IKEA shelf. You do not put things on the IKEA desk. These things just are there.
They're there to create a sense of Higa, and then once you interface with them, the Higa is destroyed.
My favorite thing about the IKEAs these days is they usually have one room that is like branded like my 200 square foot apartment room, and it's like it's everything I need, and like you go in there and like the bed is sandwiched between an oven above it and a washing machine below
it's
it.
It's like the Fisher Price Playhouse kitchenettes.
Yeah.
My favorite two IKEA showrooms. One was the influencer room, which
gross.
Just had so many curtains as dividers. And the other was a room which inexplicably had a picture of an older couple both wearing black turtlenecks in the corner, looking like they were going to devour a human being.
Steve Jobs' parents.
He was born wearing the turtleneck.
Yep.
It was great, though. But anyway, we should talk about video games. I really want to talk about FF7.
Okay.
That was cool.
I'm good with IKEA.
I mean, look, I could talk about IKEA probably for hours, but I figure...
Challenge accepted. Go.
I'm going to hope that our audience is, like, seated at the intersection of IKEA, gaming, and... I don't know. I guess escape rooms. Can we count on that?
Most millennials.
Did you guys have to write an NDA? Do you have to sign an NDA for the escape room?
No, but I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay.
It was really cool,
Was it a themed room?
It was. It was themed around like an author writing a story.
Oh, fuck.
So you didn't actually escape. You just had to like.
It wasn't tea party.
A what party?
Tea party.
More like a key party.
Okay. Well, if it was a key party, then you could just fucking leave the room because you have all these keys. That'd be dumb, Geoff.
No, you don't. This is
I think a tea party, key party escape room would be incredible. Not my president.
It was a MAGA room.
All right, let's talk about Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
I got us back to video games.
You did.
Yeah.
So I played that demo in the luxury of my home, and
What'd you think, Griff?
it was I'll say this first. I enjoyed it a lot, and I have a renewed hope in that game, and it's real, and it's cool, and I'm excited to play it in April. And then I'm going to say this. I wish I didn't play it, because as I was joking before, I've seen that fucking intro for the last 15 years of my life over and over again, and I'm good. Like, it's good. It's great. I've seen it enough, though. And it kind of bums me out that I have to go play through that again. Because, yes, it was fun, but also it was it was a fun introduction in a way that I'm like, where do I skip? How do I skip this? Because it is a little tedious, but not in a bad way. Like there's just a lot there, and it's a big introduction to a lot of the game's systems, and I feel like I have a good grasp on it. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready for the big dogs. I'm ready to have an equip menu, and I just am not super psyched about doing all that again. But I'm going to enjoy it.
I'm not derailing you. I want to keep hearing what you think, but I'll say as someone who played it twice, it was more, I felt exactly the same way the first time. Like after I finished that demo at PAX, I left thinking, wow, when I have to play that again, it's going to be really tedious. Then I played it again in the demo that I downloaded at home, and it was so much more fun the second time.
Interesting.
Because I had a little bit of an idea of how the systems worked.
Yeah.
And because the demo's longer, you have a little bit more of a lead up, and you fight more different types of enemies before the boss, and you kind of figure things out a little more. And
But what if it's the exact same thing?
That's what I'm saying. So it was... What?
Like, so you're saying it was partially enjoyable because it was more. There was more meat there than your demo that you played. But I'm saying, what if it is literally the exact same thing that I start playing when I turn on?
But what I'm also saying is it was, for me, like the lion's share of the demo was exactly the same, and I still thought it was really, really fun. I wouldn't be surprised if in this game, at least for me, I end up grinding a lot just because I'm really down for that kind of combat. Like, it's surprisingly satisfying, and I liked how even grunts, like not necessarily like the Shinra soldiers, but they're dog things. They're not super easy to kill.
Yeah,
and I am digging it, man. I'm here for it, as the kids say. And I was very pleasantly surprised. I'm very attached to that turn-based style, and I was pretty pissed when they showed that it was essentially going to be Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
And
but it's not. It's not Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I'm not a huge Kingdom Hearts person.
Did either of you play it in the classic setting format?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't played it on my PS4 yet, and they didn't have that option at PAX.
Okay.
I don't remember what I did.
Classic is like closer to turn-based. Like, you select commands.
I think I did that.
Well, you can select commands in the action-based one.
Yeah, were you running around a battlefield?
Yeah.
And
That's
mashing
action.
buttons?
That's action.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't do classic.
Dang.
Classic's supposed to be a lot simpler and maybe not as engaging. I was just going to echo what Jamie said, which is that I thought the combat in that demo that I played was like surprisingly meaty in a way that I just didn't expect. I was expecting it to be really like facile and just like FF15-ish, where it's just like everything is like bordering on automated, and you have maybe a few face button attacks you could do. But that is not how it felt to me, even in like, you know, what is essentially the introductory portion of this game. Like, there was some strategy going on. Like, I ended up finishing the demo really fast, which is like kind of somewhat to my detriment because I didn't get to luxuriate in that world. But also I felt like I was just super vibing with the battle system and like quick chaining like staggers and things like that, and like really like getting down with the ATB. And I felt like it, despite being like an action-based combat system first and foremost, like it the skeleton of it is very much like meter management, like pausing the action to issue commands, and it kind of does like preserve the soul of like ATB, like, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah,
you know what? I will say though, I'm nervous about the stagger mechanic, just because I've never enjoyed that mechanic in any game ever, where you have to chip away at something until you get into like a vulnerable state. It just becomes kind of tedious. However, I think the game might do a decent job at mitigating some of that by having like the weaknesses that elevate that. Yep. And I hope that carries forward. Because unlike Jamie, I feel like the amount of combat that I encountered was just the right amount, bordering on maybe there's a little bit too, like, I am not interested in grinding, so what I played was just the right amount, like my cuppeth filleth overeth
almost
with this.
Over. Yeah. I feel like you know, there's always that risk of it being too hallway-ish, right? Because like you can't really run away. Like, it is kind of critical pathy, at least in the demo. I feel like there are a lot of things that I want to know more about. Like, I really want to see how is Materia going to integrate into this whole operation. I know the summons are like kind of more, they're more removed, like they're more limit breaky, like fill a meter and then you can summon, which is like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I'm curious about that. I was going to say my biggest bummer about playing this demo is that I've already seen like a fifth of the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same thing too, Geoff. Yeah, I'm nervous about that.
Me too, but I'm trusting in the more Tim Rogers Twitter thought process, which is like, so Jason Schreier came out and said Midgar's like a tenth of the game, and then Tim Rogers, noted Final Fantasy VII expert, said that actually it's more like 33% of the game, and he thinks it's going to be closer to 30 some odd hours. I hope it could super. I'm not saying it's gonna be, and I would not be surprised if it's a 10-hour or less game, but I hope they find ways to pad it out. And it seems like they're not afraid to change things either, because that story beat at the end of the home demo, where, can I spoil it? I'm gonna spoil it. It's a demo. That bomb don't go off, and then Heidegger and President Shinra blow up the reactor themselves. That wasn't the original story, right?
Nope. Some people felt like that cheapened the impact of what, like, Avalanche actually being a terror group.
I love that twist. I think that's
I liked
twist.
It quite a bit. Yes.
I think that's an exciting change. And if they're willing to change things like that, I'm wondering if there's just going to be, I mean, we already know there are whole
new characters,
portions of the thing that were not available at all. Like that second boss, Jason Schreier talked about how there's this huge portion where you're just modifying the boss prior to the battle with a series of switches and terminals. Like, I think they're going to blow it out, and it might feel tedious in some areas. Like, it might seem like,
that is a concern, right? If everything that was once just like a blip becomes this long, drawn out thing.
Except that elevator. They took all the character out of that elevator. God damn it.
I was extremely excited to have a run button. My initial thought was like, oh, here we go. And then like a third of the way through, it's like, enjoy this laser grid, motherfucker. Oh, here's the sprint button. I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
Did you slide down a ladder?
Slide down the ladder, of course,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Eat Barrett's ass, yep.
Do you guys think that there'll be a missile slicing minigame in this one?
If only.
Did you watch that video I sent you guys?
Yes.
I don't need to watch the damn video. I remember.
lived it.
For the listeners, Griffin, Crisis Core #1 fan. That's
Number 2 fan. That's all right though. I'm fine with that.
Who's your #1 fan?
Jeremy Parrish is the #1 fan of Crisis
that's right.
Core.
He loved that game.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Good company. I'm in. I'd say.
True enough. In Crisis Core, just for some reason, there's a part of the game where it pauses you. It like locks you in place, and they're like, "Hey, watch out! Mortar shells are being fired. As a soldier, you might have to slice some of them. Don't worry, they won't hurt you at all. But a good soldier could slice them." And then you slice 10 mortar shells, and the game gives you like a pittance as a reward. It's the dumbest thing ever, and I don't know why it exists. It's like a solid 10 minutes of gameplay, where it's just like, hey, you want to slice some missiles?
It's really amazing.
I can only hope that the rat hunting quest that I saw as one of the FF7 new features will take the place of that.
I'd have to say the thing that I'm actually excited about for this game is how they are differentiating the characters. Cloud being the up close and personal brawl, sword-bearing striker that can jump and hit things in the air. But then you have Barrett, who is very much designed to be that long-range attacker with more of like a, I don't want to say damage over time, but it's like he's doing smaller amounts of damage.
Yeah.
And he's got that really cool like charge up ability that does like a couple big missile shots or big ballistic shots, and then you can like mash the button to try and move that gauge up faster. So I enjoyed that a lot, and I'm really interested to see what they give to Tifa and Red 13 to make them unique.
Well, did you see that Red 13's only going to be a guest character?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because he joins late in the game.
Oh, really?
Implies that we are ending at the end of Midgar.
Huh.
Yeah. So they said that he's not going to be a full character. Kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer.
But we'll see what they do with it. But I've read that Tifa does feel really cool. And I feel like Barrett...
Good.
Yeah, I agree with you very much, Griffin. Like, I fought most of the Guard Scorpion fight with Barrett.
Yeah, same here.
Occasionally switching back to Cloud just to dish out a few strong hits, like when staggers happen. Mm-hmm. And it was cool, because, Barrett feels a little techy. Like, he's got his own flow to him. And I feel like there were, suggestions of character difference in FF7, but they are all exactly the same.
And I like the ability stuff. Yeah, exactly. I like the ability where it's like his first tech ability is, a damage or a defense buff, where Cloud is all very much offensive, and it seems like you're Stagger Monkey. So that's cool. I want to see what that shakes out to be for the other characters. I'm sure Aerith will be the heel bot of the crowd.
Yeah, apparently she does some defensive buffs too.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, and apparently the game has some tough bosses. The sewer guy, people were dying to him in the press demo quite a bit.
I mean, I know the demo does start you at like level 7 or 8, so it's like, okay, will you start the game at 1, and as you're progressing, you get to level 4 or 5 by the Scorpion? I'm really curious to see what that looks like.
Yeah, well, I think we all just want the answer to, is this game going to, is the progression in this game going to be so fast that after, 4 hours, you're, level 35?
Yeah. Do you guys think that it's going to end with an appeal to go fund the Kickstarter for Final Fantasy VII Remake 2?
Oddly enough, for Shenmue 3 Part 2. Or just a replay of the E3 2014 show where they announced all this stuff just to try to recapture the hype.
Oh, yeah. Speaking Kickstarter, I did go kickstart something, and I don't know if you guys do some RP, but Beam Saber, which is a tabletop role-playing game, has a Kickstarter out there, and I highly recommend you just throw him some cash or whatever, because the guy, Austin Ramsey, he created a game called Beam Saber, which is like a mech Gundam-esque tabletop role-playing game. And the game's available for purchase through PDF, but he's doing a hardcover book version of it, and it's 300 plus pages, and it's really fucking good. And I highly recommend checking it out if you guys are still doing any role playing stuff. So Beam Saber on Kickstarter is fantastic.
Beam Saber.
Appreciate the recommendation. The only role playing I've ever done is the times we did it together, which we should return to someday.
Yes,
of course.
But anyway. I also just want to say about PAX in general, another theme that I feel like has emerged, and I think Jamie will back me up on this, is not so much playing the games, but just talking to employees at the booths, not even like people who worked on the games necessarily, but just about their lives.
Yeah,
it's a very particular thing that we do there, but that's probably my favorite part of the Animal Crossing demo. I talked to a lady who worked.
You talked to the Nook. The Nookster?
I did talk. Well, I did. I put my arm around the Nookster, and he let me do it. The sassy little boy.
Closed hand or open hand?
Open hand. I was definitely thinking about swatting him with a bug net, but I chickened out at the last minute.
That's amazing.
But so I talked to a lady who was working on the localization, and it was her first game at Treehouse, and she said that she cried on Thursday when people played the game for the first time, and I was like, "This is so good."
Oh, that's
cool. Heartwarming. And then the demo was like a multiplayer demo, which probably is not the best way to show that game, but people were still really excited. So, yeah.
The Animal Crossing fervor was intense.
I queued in a very long line for an Isabelle pin. Jamie knows it.
I do. And in the Doom line, so the Doom was directly across the way from the Animal Crossing. And in the Doom line, it was a bunch of like older, mostly older, except for that amazing young gentleman I spoke of earlier, mostly older dudes with beards in black clothing. And somehow we all got to talking about, other games we were looking at on the floor. And we started talking about Animal Crossing. And at first, people were like, kind of like, it's a game for kids. And then it quickly turned from that into like everyone in this line is just as excited for Animal Crossing as they are for Doom. And everyone in this line has a Switch, and everyone there's more overlap there than you might have thought, which is kind of cool to see.
Yeah, well, you know about that meme, right? The
Isabelle with the Doom guy helmet, yeah. That's amazing.
It was great because, they were right next door to each other. It's like, it almost felt knowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
So I've never played an Animal Crossing game. You explained to me why this demo didn't do it for you. And I still don't really get it as someone who's literally never touched an Animal Crossing game, because it sounds like you felt like multiplayer wasn't the way to go to display the game. However, it seems like when people talk about this game and why they love it, there is a social aspect to it. Maybe not overtly like we are playing this with other people, but it's like sharing your town.
So let me give you, first of all, let me say that I thought I liked the demo. I don't know if it's the best way to show Animal Crossing, but I don't think it mattered because I think the marketing has done a good job of conveying that to some degree, and I also think that the people who queued for it are just mega fans. But anyway, so Animal Crossing is kind of like, like the social elements of like an MMO. Mm-hmm. Imagine those, except like the PvE version of that. Like,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, like I'm not really explaining it well, but like it's less about like, like connecting with your friends, and like that's part of the story. Like people show off their shit and they like come visit my town or whatever. But I feel like the bigger part of Animal Crossing is just like curating a little area with your goofy little villagers who all have tiny little quirks about them, chatting them up every day, watching stuff change over time, making progress on various personal goals, and now they've actually set some real like mission type goals so you can have stuff to work towards, and just sort of developing a town and engaging with it in your own way, and I mean it's not really even a social game. It's a game of curation that happens to involve talking to like villagers and community members and learning their stories in sort of this pseudo social way, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But it's a fun little world to hang out in, and it's a world that like the recommended way to play, like you can play for a few hours and have a great time if you just like want to go fishing for a while or like do a big project. But like the way to play Animal Crossing is to engage with it a little bit every day, and like you you make a little money every day, you shake some trees, some furniture falls out, whatever it may be. It's weird. But anyway, you just you do little bits and bobs, and then over time, your community develops, you get to know people, there's rewards for having regular contact with people. So
2 questions.
Yes.
When you say a little bit every day, how much is that? And also, if you miss a day here or there, are you screwed?
No, you're not screwed. And I'd say that you're less screwed than ever with each new game. It used to be, if you waited a really long time between playing, if you waited over a month, then you'd come back and your town would just be overrun with weeds. And people would be like, where the hell were you? And they'd be like, what happened? So they'd get a little annoyed with you, and they'd talk to you again afterwards. But the town would clearly deteriorate, and if you waited long enough, then you'd get a Rafflesia in your town, which is just a gross plant that is impossible to remove unless you keep your town clean for a while.
Oh no!
Huh.
Yeah. So it used to be leaving was bad. Now that stuff still happens, and you're kind of responsible for town upkeep. But there are a lot of ways to get around it. There's a guy you can pay to get rid of all the weeds in your town, and in the last game, you could make it so your town didn't get weeds.
Sure.
And people will be like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while, but it's all good. They've done these little things to make it less punishing to kind of come and go at your own pace. There used to be a guy who, if you reset the game without saving, he would just come up and yell at you.
Don't call him just a guy.
He's not.
He has a name, Geoff.
Mr. Rossetti. I have a Mr. Rossetti plushie in my house.
I know. You should extol the virtues of Mr. Rossetti.
I love Mr. Rossetti. I wish he was still yelling at you, but
yeah.
Unfortunately, he's been laid off because the Switch has an autosave feature.
Or he's found other work.
He's found other work, yes. He now is the rescue guy. But literally there was a guy who was if you try to save scum, he would come up and just yell at you for upwards of 10 minutes.
That's wonderful.
He'd make you write shit. He'd make you be like, I'm sorry, Mr. Rossetti, or I'm a bad person. It was really good before you could play the game again. And they've pulled those elements back a little bit, but there's still some knowing nods to them. So it's become more accessible than ever to just kind of take long breaks. But it is a game that rewards continued investment. And I would say, in terms of how long you want to play every day, 20 minutes.
That's good. I feel like that's a good amount.
Jamie, did you play New Leaf?
No, I've never played any Animal Crossing game.
Okay. So then you can play this game.
Okay. I'm allowed. Got it.
I'm just excited to go back because I haven't played New Leaf in a while. I think if I had recently played New Leaf, I'd be like, what's the point?
Well, I say that only because I have zero desire to play Animal Crossing on the Switch because I'm like, yeah, I did New Leaf. I did my time. I
did my time.
You did your indenture to Tom Nook.
Yeah. I got what I needed out of that game, which is chores for little to no reward, and I'm good. I experienced it. It was fine. They gave me a birthday present on the actual birthday of mine, and it was neat. And I never need to play it again.
Jamie, Tom Nook is the raccoon, and Tom Nook is known for being very wily. He will trick you into upgrading your home and then charge you exorbitant sums of money.
But he won't trick you because it's not like you have any other option.
Yes, this is true. It is.
It's not like he's like, hey, buddy, come over here. I got a sweet deal for you. It's like, no, that's the game mechanic. If you want to make your house bigger, you have to go to Tom Nook.
Yeah.
And he's hey, do you like debt?
Yeah, go ahead.
He just says, hey, do you like debt? And you say, yes, I'm playing an Animal Crossing game, therefore I have time debt.
It is funny because the game basically forces it down your throat. They're like, why not upgrade your home, you dumb idiot? And then you do it, and you're like, oh, now you owe 100 times what you used to owe.
So you guys were giving me shit because I was like, I gotta do my Dragalia Lost dailies, or if you've ever played an MMO where it's like, oh, I gotta grind out my activity dailies, just kill these things, harvest these things, blah blah blah. That's Animal Crossing the game. It's dailies.
But the thing about the Animal Crossing
with
dailies
a little bit of The Sims
is they don't cost any money.
I mean, there's an upfront fee.
Yeah, but that's fine.
So it does cost money.
They're very charming.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
The Nook phone, man. That Nook phone, oh man, the UI is so good. I'm just ignoring your obviously cogent point, Griffin, to talk about how it's a very cute game.
He's not a raccoon.
The Nook phone's not a raccoon? No, but it's so...
No, I didn't know that Tom Nook wasn't a raccoon. I didn't know he was a Tanuki.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But have you seen the phone interface, I imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really great approach to menu.
It's going to be a good Animal Crossing game.
Yes, I think so. I'm excited about it. I understand, Griff, that you've played Animal Crossing and you're all set. Yep, which
Absolutely.
is fair. Yeah. But I think you would like it, Jamie.
I will definitely hover over it on the store and then just feel overwhelmed by all of the other games that I'm playing right now and probably not get it, but yearn. A deep yearning.
Will one of those games be Luminous Avenger X Gunvolt Chronicles?
I really hope that game is short because I really want to beat it. Okay, thank God.
What is that? Oh, it's a new Gunvolt game?
It's a not so new Gunvolt game, but it's a new-ish Gunvolt
game. Didn't he say it was a new one?
I think it came out in 2019.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah.
So I played what booth was that, Geoff?
That was at the
was it
the Inti Creates booth.
Inti Creates?
Yep.
Yeah. That was a fun booth. And there was a super nice Inti Creates employee there. And I played one of the Gunvolt games on 3DS. I honestly can't remember. What?
Probably Azure
Volt Striker, yep. That was the first one, I think.
That's the one that I played. I enjoyed it. Think I beat it.
I did not. I did not really like the lock-on system that much.
I did enjoy the lock-on system, and
I think the dashing one is way cooler.
So this one, you basically there is some lock-on functionality, but really what you're trying to do is you dash into the enemy, and once you've basically like Hollow Knight style dashed, but right into the enemy, then all of the damage that you do subsequently to that enemy is vastly increased, and you're also. So you're basically making sure that every single enemy that you're firing at, you've dashed into at least once, and while you're doing that, you're managing this ammo system, which is both offensive and defensive. Basically, there's a whole lot going on, and it gives you the sense that there's a whole lot going on, but I don't think under the hood the game is all that complicated or all that punishing. Mm-hmm. So it'll probably be a good thing to swap back and forth between, like, for example, like I'm playing Hollow Knight now, and that game kicks my butt sometimes. So I figure, if I'm getting sick of that, maybe I can play some of this. But I loved it. I loved it so much that... And I hadn't played a Gunvolt game in a while, and I hadn't played any Gunvolt games with this character. It's a different character. It's not the blue guy.
Yeah.
But I liked it so much that I just bought it right there. I was like, this is awesome. I'm buying this game.
Also, it had a really cool mechanic where you can dash off walls. Like, you can wall jump dash, and it was really rad.
Yeah.
It felt like a more worthy successor to the Mega Man X style of gameplay than I ever felt like Gunvolt was.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
It
Super
feels
neat.
really good. Like, immediately.
Yeah.
It feels really good. So I am excited to get more into that as time goes on. Although I have just been spending all of my time playing Hollow Knight recently. And I just learned that game's about twice as long as I've put into it, which I was not expecting. So I'm probably going to be playing that for a while.
It's the only Metroidvania that does not follow the 2-hour rule. Like, not even close.
But can we talk about that game a little bit? Because I played it a little bit on PC, and I don't know why I loved it. But I never, loved it enough to just push through some of the really difficult parts. But on Switch, for some reason, I am just going for it. And that game has completely captivated me in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. Both of you guys beat it, right?
No, I definitely hit a wall.
Oh, I beat it. I 100%ed it.
When did you hit that wall, Griff?
I think there's it's like the jellyfish zone. I don't know if that's enough information.
The electric one?
Yeah,
That's
I got
almost tough.
there, and that's where I was kind of like, I don't know if there's I didn't like that area, and I'm sure there was another area that I could have gone to go explore someplace else and mitigate that kind of, dislike of it, and maybe skill up or get some more items or something like that. And that's kind of where it just was like, I can beat my head against this, but I'm not liking this thing. And then some other games came out and took my attention away from it. So, it's also tough because I'm like, well, if I go back to it, what the fuck am I even gonna, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, like you're gonna have to start over. Like, what does it even look like?
Yeah, I feel like I hit a wall with every single zone, but then I leave that zone, go somewhere else, usually find a whole new zone. And so I feel like I don't complete areas in that game. Maybe I'm playing it wrong, but I don't 100% an area. Like, I'm dicking around someplace. There's maybe a few areas which are very obviously, I need powers that I don't have to access this area. But then other parts of the area where I feel like I'm just not smart enough to really figure out how to navigate it, and then I'll just get bored of it, go somewhere else, and then discover something that way. When you guys played it, did you 100% an area and then move on, or were you bouncing back and forth?
I feel like I was bouncing a bit. There's a progression, right? Like, there are clearly, especially in the beginning of the game, it's a little more gated. Like, it's like, go fight the Hornet, that's pretty much where everyone has to go for the first area. Although I guess there are other ways to play the game, like you can go over to the right instead of going down and left. But anyway, there was a bit of bouncing around, and it is a game that sort of opens up and lets you go any way you want. And I feel like I would generally try to get to the end of an area, but there was a lot of returning, and there are entire sections of that game it does that thing that Dark Souls does, where it's like you might break an illusory wall and then discover a completely new area that you would never see otherwise. And I love it for that. But yeah, sometimes you'll come back to an area and you're like, holy crap, this is actually twice the size of what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And it was very cool for that.
One thing that I'm finding a little frustrating, but kind of in an enigmatic and actually somewhat strangely satisfying way, is that I will break a fourth wall, I'll get into a new area, I'll find something super cool, like maybe it's a group of bad guys worshipping some strange droning priest guy who I can then talk to, but then nothing happens. There's no new item there, there's no new power there. I just found this weird thing that kind of put me in peril to get there, and then there's no tangible reward other than you found this cool thing, or maybe I'm just not equipped to obtain the award yet, or is there a lot of that, Geoff?
It may be that you don't have what you need yet to get that. Do you have, has your nail gotten, a meaningful, different form of attack yet?
2. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have the dream nail?
I have the same nail, but I can hold Y and charge it up Mega Man style, and then do a dash attack with it, and then a swing attack with it. Is that what you meant?
No. You will later get a special kind of attack that lets you interact with the world differently.
Cool.
Not everywhere. Don't get too excited, but it will open up some new options for you. And I'm wondering if that's what you might need for that section. I don't remember.
There are these black walls that I can't get through yet. I don't know how I'm going to get through those. So
I don't even remember how you... I think I vaguely remember how you get through those. It is... You're not going to have that ability for a while.
Gotcha.
Is what I will say. I think I got that near end game. And I don't even think you need it to complete the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't even know the structure, much like... It's actually... I feel like the actual layout of the map and the structure of the game is actually more veiled than a Bloodborne or a Dark Souls. Because in those games... there's a hub, and you're progressing out from the hub, and you kind of get the sense that at the termini of each spoke from the hub, there will be a boss that will in some way get you closer to the final boss. But in this game, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just out there. I occasionally will bump into a boss. I'll beat the boss, and then I feel no closer to completing the game than before. I feel like I did a cool thing.
See, in that way... Yeah, go ahead.
Go on.
I was going to say, in that way, it reminds me of the original Dark Souls, which I feel like, of all the From Software games, had the most, just kind of random optional shit. Just oh, go into this room and you fight this boss, which you don't actually have to fight. and doesn't really progress the game at all, but like does this one little thing. And there's a lot of that in Hollow Knight, and I think it also Dark Souls you in a way that reminds me of the first game, because like the connections between the different worlds will like kind of reveal themselves in very interesting kind of sneaky ways over time.
I dig it. Like I'm there for it. It is I feel like the game is just a touch too punishing for
It's very hard.
for my, like, you know, you can lose a lot of money. Like you can lose a lot of progression, and it does feel frustrating at times, especially because the game will dangle in front of you carrots that you know would make your experience vastly improved, and you just can't access those things yet. So, for example, I've met a NPC who improves the nail, not in a crazy way, but he just improves it a little bit. And now I'm at a part of the map where all of the enemies, even the grunts, I have to hit like 1,000,000 times to kill. And I know that if I had the thing which allowed me to upgrade the nail even maybe one more time, it would be reasonable again. But I don't have whatever it wants. So I have to just kind of keep pushing on, and it kind of sucks. Like I don't want to have to Google where things are, but I feel like I'm getting to that point where I might have to just Google some stuff.
That area is like kind of like the Anor Londo of that game, in that it's kind of where I feel like it's where like things get a little real. Like it's sort of like, okay, you've done the earlier stuff, now we're gonna really throw some stuff at you, so maybe you should be ready for it. So you might want to check out some other spots. You're talking about the city?
Isn't it all a city?
So,
City of Tears?
Yes.
I'm going to step in here and ask one final question about Hollow Knight, a game from 5,000 years ago.
Sorry.
What compelled you to play this, Jamie? Like, why now?
What compelled me to play it? Mm-hmm. Because I went to the Fangamer booth, and they had a bunch of cool Shovel Knight stuff, and the Shovel Knight Special Edition, Collector's Edition, with a silly little pendant thing in it.
When you say Shovel Knight, you mean Hollow Knight.
Yep.
Okay.
And
I was like, oh, this is a good A to B to C.
Follow me. And so I saw the Hollow Knight merch, and I saw the Hollow Knight Special Edition, and I was like, cool. And I bought it all. And then I started playing it on my Switch. And so this is how I got back into it.
Cool. Okay. Nice. Good job, Fangamer.
Yeah.
Anyway, a great game.
All right. Yeah, it is a great game. What else did you guys play when you were at PAX? Anything else you haven't talked about yet? I'm kind of curious about a lot of the stuff on your list.
World of Horror is
Cyber
amazing.
Shadow sounds cool. What is that?
Cyber Shadow is a game that Yacht Club is publishing, not developing. As far as I could tell from speaking to the Yacht Club people about it, it's a one developer style Metroidvania type deal that feels pretty good, but not as good as like a what's the one I'm thinking of?
Ninja. You know what I'm talking about.
They're coming out with a sequel. It's a another one dude deal.
Wait,
they're coming out with a sequel soon.
to the time traveling ninja game?
Nah.
What is it? What's the time traveling ninja game? Is it like the Shadow, the Journeyman,
the Messenger?
There you
The
go.
Messenger.
Thank you.
It does. Well, you're right. It didn't feel as good as the Messenger, and it didn't feel as good as this other Metroidvania, who I came out in 2015. I can't.
Or
think
you're talking
of the name.
about the Hap game, Thomas Hap's game.
Yeah,
Axiom
yeah,
Verge?
yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
didn't feel as
Axiom
good
Verge?
to me.
Love that game.
Yeah,
Did you
Didn't
play
feel
Axiom
as-
Verge 2?
we did not.
It wasn't there, I don't think.
I don't think it was there, but didn't feel as good as that. But it was still a cool little game to play. I was pumped by that. I was really excited by World of Horror, which is, as I just learned, available for free in early access on Game Pass, but you can also buy it on Steam, which is like a 1-bit black and white procedural what do they call it? Like anime game. What do they call like
It's based off of the works of Junji Ito,
Oh.
very renowned horror manga artist in Japan, and also Lovecraft.
But what do they call that type of game, Jeff? Why am
It's
I
a
blanking?
roguelike.
It's a roguelike, but it's like Nirvana. It's like
A visual novel.
visual novel.
Yeah.
It's a visual novel, but it has some really cool imagine, Griff, a visual novel with like tabletop
with gameplay.
With tabletop gameplay specifically.
Oh, cool.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so there's dice rolls, there's equipment. It seems like things are timed, not necessarily in a strict timer sense, but you can only explore so many areas and collect so much stuff before there's kind of a final boss fight, and there are smaller fights along the way. And for a 1-bit game, the art is amazing, and it really succeeded in scaring the crap out of me.
It's very like early Macintosh game.
Yeah, but it looks amazing.
Yeah, very beautiful.
I was certainly more impressed with that than I was with Nirvana.
Oh no, really?
I felt like the first Nirvana demo, I was into it. This demo was like not great.
Huh.
Felt a little
Nirvana being the next game from the Valhalla. Okay.
Yep. It felt a little bit jank, a little bit poorly written.
Was it the gameplay jank, or was it just kind of like the story was not catching you, or people, or whatever?
Latter.
Okay.
I'm still excited for it. I think it still could be great, obviously. And I think it's hard when you're, especially like, those games like you want to get into the mood, like you're reading a novel, and you wouldn't sit in the middle of PAX with 60,000 people around you and read a book, But like, I always wonder how much that affects the experience. But I wasn't feeling it as much as I felt
Valhalla
for sure. So that was that.
Yeah.
And
were you like, where's all the corgi piss jokes? What the fuck?
Exactly.
I think that the part of the problem is, the guy who makes it is Brazilian, and I'm not sure the localization needed like at least 3 more passes. It was real rough.
All right.
Yeah.
So it was all corgi piss jokes then?
No, there were not enough corgi piss jokes. And it wasn't horny in the way. It wasn't horny in the way that game gets away with being horny. I think you understand if you played it. Like, usually when a game is horny, I'm like, eh. When Valhalla is horny, I'm like, all right, yeah. Like, this is acceptable horniness.
You know what's weird? The Yardbird, how do you say it?
Eastbird or whatever? Yeah.
The Eastbird employee who sat me down for that demo said she went out of her way to tell me that the protagonist of the game isn't as thirsty as she comes off as, and I was like, that's a weird thing to tell me, and also wasn't necessarily borne out in the story, so I don't know where they're at with that game. Hopefully they'll tune it up and it'll be great. But
I was going to say the protagonist in Valhalla is extremely thirsty.
Oh yeah,
and it works.
Yeah,
I'm there for all of it.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, which I realized I didn't actually talk about, is the Doom Eternal demo, which was 20 minutes long and is incredible. And that game is going to be incredible. And I really hope that it takes what I loved about Doom 2016 and packages it in a way that you specifically, Geoff, will latch onto. Because that game takes everything that was...
what does that mean? What is
He just wants,
so basically,
he just
imagine...
wants you to like Doom is the bottom line.
Okay, so it's not a first-person shooter. So
it's a tactical role-playing game now.
Tactical. It's a deck building game with a lot of town management mini games.
Yeah. Tom Nook told me that I wasn't paying rent on my Doom Fortress, and it was really awkward. I did murder him.
And then I weeded my town.
Yeah. No, I feel like what Geoff likes about action-y games, like the reason why I feel, hearing Geoff talk about, oh god, my brain is not working this morning, guys, I apologize, the roguelike game, Binding of Isaac. I feel like what Geoff loves about Binding of Isaac is knowing exactly what to do in the right situation, and if you don't do that thing in the right situation, you are immediately punished. And I feel like Doom Eternal is Doom 2016, except, and you still have that amazing sense of power, and you still have that amazing sense of momentum, but this time, if you just use the super shotgun all the time, you will die immediately.
This time,
and I feel like
it's personal.
When I heard the devs talking about that in various interviews, I didn't really understand how that could possibly be, because if they're going to do that to you, wouldn't they have to kind of take away that sense of momentum and power? And they somehow seem to be walking the line like exactly down the middle in a way that seems perfect. And I could be wrong, and I could get the game in a little bit, and it could just be.
I'm
not
really happy
that.
to hear that you're saying that, Jamie, because I've heard similar from like other video game podcasts, and if you're echoing that same thing, that makes me very happy.
Because you learn it immediately. Like it takes one interaction with the giant brain thing on Spider Legs to where you do not take out its turret first for you to realize that
called? Master something.
I don't even remember. But you realize after you die to that thing once that you must use the regular shotgun's alt fire to take out its special attack immediately, or else you're going to die.
Right.
And it's not like it doesn't take you long to learn that. But once you've learned that, you realize, okay, every time I see that enemy, I have to do that first, or I have to at least manage the other enemies so I can prioritize doing that. Because if I don't do that, I'm dead in the water.
Demons have weaknesses now.
Exactly. And the sense of momentum and exploration is completely maintained. The story seemed just a hair more towards metal rather than like joking, but still joking and stupid. Which I'm totally. I mean, the guy now no longer has bicep armor, so you know where they're coming from. Like,
he tore his sleeves off.
Yeah, he's taking all the demons to the gun show.
Oh, nice, nice. So you're never out of ammo.
The trailer was extremely goofy.
Yes, yeah. Well, in the game, there's a little. Maybe it was the demo. Like they wanted to. You're essentially floating around Earth in your mind palace. I guess it's not a mind palace; it's a physical palace. So you're floating around Earth in your castle, and you're like getting calls from like people who are like, "Help me!" Ah! And then so like that was a little weird because it's like, I don't want to know that people are actually dying, but then you head down to Earth and it's very clear.
As a murder machine, I don't want to know that people are dying.
Only the demons.
But then you get down to Earth and it's the same as it was before. It just feels absolutely incredible, and it looks for someone like me who's like obsessed with graphics and stuff like that. It looks better. This is not on the same engine as the other one, so
interesting.
Mega textures are dead. No more mega textures. It's just
long live mega textures.
And it just everything about it just seems like everything you loved about the first game, but a little more thoughtful. And I'm so here for it. It seems like exactly what I would want from a sequel in a way that I would not have guessed that they could have ever come up with. And I'm really glad they took it in the direction that they did. I'm incredibly pumped. I was surprised. Both of the big AAA games that I was excited to play, Final Fantasy VII and this, wowed me in the mechanics department in a way that I was like, like they're actually thinking pretty hard about this stuff, and they don't want to make it boring. Like that seems pretty cool.
More
I can tell you that
Square Enix.
I'm very much not going to play a demo if it does come out of Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
I again, I mean, this is me. I'm not the type of person who's opposed to grinding, and if there was a demo out, I would probably play it every single day until the game is released, but that's just me. I think that if you wait and you take it as an experience, I think this game is going to be like an incredible, I hope it's like 12 hours. Like I think it's going to be an incredible like experience in like the teens range, and I think all at once it's just going to be something that I'll probably return to I've played Doom 2016 through multiple times every year since its release, and I totally think this is going to be the type of game where I do that as well. It just seems incredible. I'm so pumped for it. So
cool.
Thanks for letting me gush about it.
No, dude, that's great. I am noticing that we're over an hour, and I want to talk about one more thing, and then also maybe hear about Dreams. Anyone else want to talk about stuff too?
I'm good.
Okay, sweet. I just wanted to quickly touch on the Yacht Club booth, which was amazing, as always, and the 2 Shovel Knight spin-offs, one of which I didn't actually know about because I didn't watch the Shovel Knight Direct or whatever. But they're both really good. They're both made by non-Yacht Club developers, just using Shovel Knight.
Interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, super cool. I love it. I love how Shovel Knight has become like such a beloved IP. I think that considering that they were basically chained to this game for like 6 years. They've really done amazing stuff with it, and I think made some really smart choices about how to kind of build their brand around it. But the two games, so Shovel Knight Dig is the first one, has kind of a Downwell vibe a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
Well, it's like Downwell kind of mixed with what's that mining game? SteamWorld Dig a little bit. So you're falling down, you're digging around, you're getting items, you're dodging like a death trap that's slowly falling down.
It's very arcadey.
A little arcadey. It's randomly generated, but there are levels and there are bosses at the end of every level that are
cool,
like what you would expect. And it just feels good. It feels like a fun extension of Shovel Knight. I feel like they've done a really good job. Like, this is just like some really like granular shit, but like they did a really good job with like having like iconography in Shovel Knight that like transfers over and like recognizable characters, like those little propeller rats are in the game.
I thought exactly the same thing.
So they've created like the Metaton of Shovel Knight.
I don't know if there's any Metaton in Shovel Knight, but
No. I'm saying that like Mega Man has Metaton, Shovel Knight has created an iconic little critter that flows between between games.
I just think that they've done a good job with like overall like all of the iconography. Like if you're a Shovel Knight fan, these characters have been drilled into you because there've been so many iterations of Shovel Knight. Like the chest guy, the guy who lives in the chest and he pops out and sells you stuff. Like he's there. There's the little rats, and I'm glad, Jamie, that you immediately were like, yes.
Totally. It rewards you for playing other games in the universe, and you don't even need to have played them recently. Like, if you've played Shovel Knight games, you know how those rats work, and this game actually completely changes things up, and you don't even need to press down and attack to bounce off of them, but you know when you hit those mother grabbers, you're going to bounce off of them, and it's cool. It's like I thought that was really rewarding.
It's cool to see, like, to watch, an independent IP kind of grow and become a bit of like not a juggernaut, but like become, a big thing and
a staple
and expand in ways that feel organic and cool, like kind of in like a Mario kind of way. Like Shovel Knight's in other stuff, and Shovel Knight's doing cool mechanics, and he's always shoveling, but he's shoveling in ways that are different across different games. That's a hard thing to pull off successfully, and I think they have made really good choices about that. Which brings me to the other game, because I don't want to spend too long in either one. They're both really cool. Which was like a puzzle game involving. It kind of has the look of like a match 3 game, but it's not that. Essentially, you're like Shovel Knight, and you're in like a falling block puzzle environment, and when you dig stuff out, like you kill all the stuff around it. And usually the goal is to like survive, but there's like different types of enemies that have different types of ways of blocking you, and like can do, and like it's sort of vaguely roguish in the way that like you can like when you hit an enemy, they hit you, like that kind of not dungeon crawler. What do you call those games? Like a mystery dungeon style of thing, where like enemies take their turns when you do.
Okay.
So there's some interesting puzzle strategy going on there, and it just like again like there are little. Like, I was struck by how the iconography just transfers over, and you're like, oh, yeah, this guy has a shield, so, like, I need to go around him. And you're like, I don't know how they have managed to, like, use the stuff they've created so effectively across multiple games now, but I'm really impressed by it. And it's always fun to talk to the people at Yacht Club and, like, talk to them about what they're working on and how they're thinking, and I'm just really excited by that studio. And what they're working on.
Most consistently nice employees ever, and also like the same woman that we've been talking to for like a decade, who's always super pumped to tell us about their stuff.
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure that Yacht Club got its due, because they were there, they were great, and I'm just excited for what they're working on. I think they're really cool. So.
Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah. Is it coming to the standard all platforms, or are they limiting it to like Switch or something now?
I think it's an all platforms kind of deal. The Pocket Dungeon game might also be a mobile game. I don't know. I couldn't find platforms when I looked it up just a minute ago, but I'm sure if I looked harder I would know. But yeah, I think it's an all platforms kind of deal.
Nice. Yeah. Good to hear.
But I want to hear about Dreams, Griff, if you have anything. The only thing I've seen in Dreams is someone played a game where a dog pooped.
Oh, well, we're low on time, as you said, so here's Dreams. I played it for about 2 hours. It didn't hook me. The end.
I kind of thought it might be that way.
Signing off.
I mean, I don't want to shit on it. It's just it's not for me, and I have the game gave me no reason to play longer.
It's too creative, man.
That's it.
It's like too creative for its own good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or not. I don't know. Maybe it has the same problem that every Media Molecule game has, which is that it's like floaty and weird.
Sure. Let me tell you about something that's good, though.
All right.
Sonic.
Oh, no.
Did you guys see that Sonic movie?
Nope.
No, I want to.
It's so good.
We almost went at PAX.
You should have gone. It's amazing. It has no right being as good as it is, and it's fantastic.
I heard Sonic's in it.
I don't know what that means.
You don't know what Sonic is?
I mean, the joke, yes, but no, there's no Sonic. It's legitimately good. Watch the movie.
All right. Is Jim Carrey
He's mad about it.
an effective Robotnik?
He is very effective. The movie is weird as fuck.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How many fart jokes are in this movie?
Ooh, okay, so from what I was told, I had to use the restroom during this time, but there was one. I got the chili dog shits joke, and I was not in the theater at that moment.
No.
So that's as close as you can get, I think.
As someone who ate 2 chili dogs at a coronavirus hospital yesterday, I need that joke.
Yeah. Well, go see the movie, and when he goes to the biker bar, don't go to pee.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I will not.
Yeah. No, I highly recommend watching that film. It's probably the best thing that's happened this year.
You have not seen Detective Pikachu yet, right, Griffin?
No, I saw it.
Okay.
Saw it in theater.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah. Do you think it was better than Detective Pikachu?
Yes.
Fighting words.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Do you feel like it? Because I felt like the thing that Detective Pikachu did well was it like respected the world.
Mm-hmm.
Does Sonic respect the world?
You can see this movie and not know anything about Sonic and have a great time in it. The Detective Pikachu is like so much of it is resting on the laurels of isn't Pokemon cool?
Yeah.
Like
Pokemon.
Look at what we did with Pokemon. Well, I mean, you're not wrong, but also if somebody didn't know that inherently,
yeah.
They would be like, what's this fucking orange rat doing that talks like Deadpool? This movie, Sonic, is phenomenal.
Sounds cool, man.
Yeah, you should see it.
I mean, it's certainly a heavier lift to make Sonic good, because that's like not even the developers can do that.
Yeah, I'm glad you made that joke.
It's too easy for you to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I don't need to. This movie was. Just go see Sonic. It's very good.
All right.
Will do.
But yeah, if you're like, should I play Dreams or should I go watch Sonic? Go watch Sonic.
Better use of your 2 hours.
Absolutely.
All right. I mean, Dreams might have better fart jokes than Sonic.
I will tell you this though, Sonic previews. It's like, oh no, this. I'm not the audience for this.
Was it like, what was it? Was it like a slew of Nickelodeon movies?
Basically, and like the trailer of like funny robots or funny rabbits or funny monster ends with like one stinger line, and then you just hear the echo of like 8 or 9-year-olds just like squealing out the same line through the theater.
Oh no.
Did anyone cry when Sonic maybe kind of almost died? I'm assuming that happens at some point.
I didn't hear any sobs.
They were silent.
I was laughing the loudest in the theater, I'm pretty certain, though.
Nice.
Right. Can I watch a video of you watching Sonic?
Yeah, man.
Right. That's what I want.
You can find that at bossbarrel.com.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Watch me live react to Sonic the movie.
Anything else we want to cover today? There were a couple more games we played, but none of them were that noteworthy. I'm going to be real with you.
Truth.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. Things are going to get wild here. We're getting into the actual games that are cool part of the year. So I'll be planning on playing some things coming up.
Tim?
Sorry, what was that? Was that your Pokemon name?
No, that's the Pokemon knockoff MMO that people were losing their minds about like a month ago.
I heard about that. Yeah.
I don't
Did
even
you
play
play
it.
that?
No, I did not, and I don't want to.
Good.
I think
Good for
Not
you.
my
looks bad.
Pokemon. So, not just Pokemon. We're going to sign off here. This has been Boss Barrel Radio. Thanks for listening. We will see you in roughly another month. So, play some games.
Heck yeah.
Thanks for sharing all your PAX adventures, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to PAX, you mother grabber.
Do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Get the virus. Become the virus.
That sounds bad.
All
right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Boss Barrel. I'm your host, Griffin Hoffmann. This week on the show, we're talking guns, funs, buns, and huns.
Z105.